Virgo, this is your weekly oracle and tarot card reading from Born Without Boundaries. Welcome. Yes, it is for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising. Anywhere Virgo influences your life, you could be dealing with a Virgo. It's for you. This is an energy reading. I use oracle cards. I always do create a full tarot card reading as well. That's in the extended video. And that, of course, includes the romance reading. So please do join me for that. So Virgo, let's do first things first, right? Let's get into the channeled messages, and then let's get into the cards. Interesting. Hold on. So, I get why you're uncomfortable. Let's put it this way, Virgo. I understand why you're uncomfortable. But simultaneously, you're not that uncomfortable. This is a transitional period, 100%. And it's a transitional period for a lot of people. And letting go is not necessarily the easiest thing for you. But there is this sense of almost like understanding. How can I say this? This is a period of understanding why it is so important to understand others. I am all about empowerment and self-healing and self-responsibility, taking care of yourself. That's not what this is about. This is about how understanding other people's perspectives really influences and impacts our lives, our day-to-day. Our being able to just get things done. And you're good with that. You're also good with being certain about what needs to get done. And you're good at giving direction and giving purpose to people and organizing people, when they can't organize themselves. You're good at coming up with solutions that help the logistics. You're good at the logistics. And you really are. It's almost like a second nature to you. And a lot of times that could also be why people turn around and say, well, you're a bully. You're a bully or you're too controlling. It's like, no, it's just really easy for me to be able to see the logistics of things, to map things out, to plan things, and I come to the conclusions faster. Now, this is what I'm talking about understanding others and how imperative this aspect is into actually getting things done. Because there is a sense of, yes, you do come to things faster, but it's also very important to allow others to come to the conclusions themselves, even when you've reached it and you've gotten there like a week before or even years before. And I know that you know this feeling. I know that you do. Why is this feeling important right now? Because there's been an aha moment, I would say. Because from what I'm understanding, there's a lot to do with relationships right now. Relationships, not necessarily romantic relationships, but relationships that impact your day-to-day. Romantic relationships are included in this, but relationships that impact your life. Understanding how people arrive to their conclusions. But not only that, this is more important than that. Understanding why it's important to let them arrive at their own pace or figure things out for themselves, and how difficult it can be when we got there a week ahead of time, when we're like, why do I have to wait? And I don't believe in waiting, Virgo. I never do. I get comments all the time from people that are like, I'm sick of waiting. I'm sick of waiting. I said, don't wait. Don't ever wait. Don't wait for someone to love you. Don't wait for somebody to wake up. Don't wait for someone to heal. Don't wait. Don't even wait in a line. Now, realistically, all of us have to wait in lines. Every frickin' day there's a line we have to wait in. But don't wait. Be active. Do something. Even if it's meditate. Even if it's just allowing yourself, like when you have to stand in this irritating ass line, don't think of it as, I'm in this irritating ass line. Think of it as, I don't have to run around for a second. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be just being still right now. That's what I'm talking about. Don't wait, because wait is a burden. Wait is an irritant, but what can you do to actively use even passive time? You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't always have to be turned on. And I am the kind of person who doesn't care what other people think of me. You guys do care more about what other people think of you. Absolutely, because you're earth signs, and earth is about tangible. It is about this 3D world. So there is a sense of really caring about what other people think of you. So the suggestion I was going to make with the whole in the line metaphor is sit down. Sit down. Like, I will literally sit down. Hold on. Okay. Knowing how important it is for somebody to arrive at that position by themselves, caveat, and not manipulating them to do it from the background. Isn't that difficult? And that is, because a lot of times that's your MO, right? It's like, okay, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait, and I need you to arrive here at the right time, because in my plans and in my design, everything works out perfectly this way. So how do I get you there? And how do I make sure that you come in my direction and make sure that you think that you're coming by your own validity? Which is what gets into manipulation, which is inevitably, when that's uncovered, which inevitably it always is, that's what starts to unravel any relationship. This sense of somebody feeling like they have been handled. And I think that there's an awakening now and a realization of realizing the handling. Realizing how much it impacts somebody, and the state and really the statement toward their character that it is of, I didn't trust you to get here by yourself, or I didn't want to take the time or care enough for you to do it your way or respect your process. It did ultimately need to be my way and my process for me to feel comfortable with your arrival where I wanted you to be. And holy shit, is that how I really am? And oh my God, in these situations, yes. And who is the source of the problem here? Now, listen, you can go back and please do watch the other zodiac signs, because I'm sure many other zodiac signs are influencing you than just your sun sign, right? Or your rising sign, or, you know. But there is a sense of, I kind of lost my train of thought. There is a sense of awakening for everybody. Why? Because the moon is in Aquarius. And when the moon is in Aquarius, other people's emotions and other people's feelings become paramount. It's not just our feelings anymore. You know, it's not how we feel that is important. It's like, especially if you're an intuitive person, there is a sense of absorbing how other people feel, how we make other people feel, how we impact the lives of others by making them feel things. And during this Aquarius moon, you know, the moon is in Aquarius for like 2.5 days. You can round it up to 3 days, the sense of, because at least the energy is there. And how it's basically opposing Leo, a direct opposition. The sun and the moon are in direct opposition of each other, challenging us and what we want and how we want to get things done. And basically intentionally making that a challenge for us to learn and understand and evolve. And this evolution, and for you, is especially impacting how you recognize how your insistence on things being the way that you need them to be, how it affects other people and how they feel competent, and their, first of all, their actual practical competency, but also how they feel about themselves. You know, can I actually do this on my own? Because I've been so handled and I've been so directed. Do I actually have the capabilities? Because clearly, you know, the Virgo in my life doesn't think I do, because they automatically take over and make sure that it's about their processes. And then there's a sense of them not realizing, well, it's actually a weakness in you that needs other people to step in line with their processes, because that's how you feel valuable. Like being able to look at you're the virgin with the wheat, right? You're the planter. You're the one that forms the rows and sets up the harvest. It's you being able to design the infrastructure or the agriculture that is how you feel like you're valuable, like you're contributing. And this is an energy of you dealing with a person or a group of people that don't understand that, and only see it as manipulation, and that it has brought them down and that it has hurt them in some way. But believe me, on the other side, whatever sign you're dealing with, it's also their responsibility to start to awaken and realize why you do what you do. So you are really in the midst of awakening to the other side of the story, understanding how your needs, your emotional needs impact somebody else, how your behavior has impacted somebody else, how the handling itself has impacted somebody else, whether that somebody else is you from their perspective or it is them from your perspective. It is the analysis of the handling that is important right now in your life. It is impacting you. Why is it impacting you? Because you're awakening to it. You're realizing it. You're realizing why they do the things that they do, and you're also realizing why you impacted them the way that you are. And it is very objective. There's this peacefulness about it. It's not a, oh, I'm fucked up, I'm so stupid, or I hate myself, or I hate them. It is really this beautiful sense of just understanding, of being able to just be. And when we can get to that point of just pure understanding, there is potential for enlightening. There is potential for growth. There is potential for making yourself better and making situations better without any expectation of getting something or earning something. Let's get into the tarot cards. I want you to see this. This card came out immediately, so I know that you're dealing with some sort of relationship, predominantly love. Love is all around, and sometimes love being all around can be very burdensome and heavy, but this is this Gemini energy. So there is a sense of knowing how to communicate, understanding somebody else's love language. Leo got this energy big time too, but there's also not this specific energy, but just understanding how your words and how what you say impacts somebody else. And almost for a second, being able to hear with their ears, hear through the filters that they have. So you actually hear what they pick up as opposed to what you put out, and realizing, holy shit, there's a difference. There's a difference between what I say and what is actually heard. Yeah, there is. There is. And once you realize that, there's this whole other, oh my God, first of all, there's this, maybe it wasn't as my fault, or maybe I'm not as bad as I think I am, or they're not as bad as they think we are, or now I can understand. Now you can also feel a burden of it in some ways, of realizing, wow, there are so many other minute adjustments that I have to make now, and no, you don't. You don't have to worry about it. But this is an opportunity to learn about it. And this realization, this actuality, is something that actually empowers you to recognize and realize that maybe sometimes stepping back and explaining why it's important to you. Not only why it's important to you because I want to get things done and this is the only way they're going to be done right, but because this is how I feel secure. This is how I feel safe. This is how I feel I'm valuable, because honestly, I don't know if I add value to your life in any other way. And when you allow somebody to recognize this has more to do with you wanting to be good to them than you wanting to control them, there is a way to now bridge any kind of tension that's happening between the two of you. Look at this energy. Can be very manipulative energy. This is Scorpionic energy. You're dealing with Gemini and you're dealing with Scorpio, two extremely attractive signs, to extremely almost irresistible appeal, but also high maintenance. High maintenance. Gemini is high maintenance in how much you have to be hands off with them, because they will interpret any little nuance of control as, now I'm going to do battle with you. Because it's self-defense for them, it's self-preservation. And Scorpio, you can't try to control them either, because if they don't feel like they're in control of their environment, then they lose control of their whole lives. There is that it's a very fine line, like a spider's web, very fine line, and they know how to step on it. But as soon as you push them over, it's ridiculous. So this is a sense of, even if you're not dealing with one of these signs, you're dealing with somebody who does need to feel in control of their own life and is some way been compromised, or that sense of being in control of their own lives has been compromised, and you have maybe been their fallback because you're so good at creating structure, but how they really need to create the structure for themselves, and that you're not doing them any favors by creating the structure for them. This is Piscean energy. Somebody's in a rush to get somewhere because they don't want to wait anymore. They don't want to hold back. They don't want to have patience. They're sick of it. They're done with it. They're rushing. And maybe they're using you and your abilities, or you're using you and your abilities to just get there quick, because like I said in the beginning of the reading, you know how to get there quick. You can make a plan in a half a millisecond. You can do it. You can add the structure and bring the logistics into the room. That's not always the healthiest way for somebody, or the healthiest way to solve their problems. Sometimes it is making them struggle, like making them find their own way. Even if they hate you for it, it's not about even how they feel about you. It's about them being the best of themselves, and they're not going to get there with a bunch of crutches, knowing that and realizing it, because so many times, Virgos, your ability to take, not necessarily control, but take responsibility for, and your ability to establish a routine is a fallback for people. It's a crutch. It's okay, so I don't have to do this for myself. But you do. You at least need the ability to do it. Right? Because what ends up happening then is they're going to turn around and flip around on you and say, when things get bad or when things go wrong, how come you've been controlling me this whole time? I thought I was doing what you needed me to do. I thought I was being useful to you, and now all of a sudden I'm controlling you. I thought I was doing a job that you were giving me. And I was doing a job with all my gusto, because that's what you do. You work. You take a job on and you do it with everything that you have. Even if you're ultimately you're a lazy person, as soon as you take on a job, there is just a sense of being very devoted to it and going gung-ho to it, whatever you decide to let into your life. So there is a sense of, I thought I was doing the job that you gave me, and now I'm being accused of controlling you. Now, maybe I did take control, but it's because I felt like you needed it. I felt like you wanted it. And this is when you start to realize, this is the enlightening part. You start to realize how people really do need to be uncomfortable for a while. They really do need to come to conclusions by themselves. It's not only understanding all the practicalities of how they've come to the conclusion, which is very intriguing to you, but also why they needed to do it themselves. Because you really don't build even the mental muscles unless you have to do it yourself. And there is somebody in your life that really did need to do it themselves. These three cards came out. This is the unknown. This is the future is still unsettled. It's still a little bit hazy. There's a mystery here, and this is divine mystery, which means that the universe doesn't really want you to know how this is going to turn out right now. Because if all of you would get lazy, everybody involved would get lazy if you knew the conclusion. So it's intentionally not giving you the conclusion because it wants you to work to find it. Love, you are never alone. Companionship, trustworthiness, your heart, your health, it could even be. There's a sense of either this has to do with health or it has to do with heart. Either way, it has to do with feeling good in terms of physiologically feeling healthy, or feeling good in terms of emotionally. And it could be a link between the two, like feeling good is helping you emotionally feel good, or getting yourself to an emotional state of stability will help clear up physiological ailments that have been a mystery. They could have been manifesting. Stress manifests a lot of physiological ailments, could even manifest anxiety attacks that feel like heart attack. Stress can also degrade a lot. Let me just put it that way. So stress and anxiety and being in this like fight or flight mode is honestly, Virgo, a sense of emotional stability impacting your physiological stability, or a physiological threat, maybe as somebody's been ill around you, or etc., has been impacting you emotionally. But the two are linked. They're not separate, right? Here we have sometimes life stinks. So there is a sense of not knowing where the pain is coming from, or not knowing where the infection is coming from, not knowing why things are not as healthy as they could be, and it causing you discomfort, and somehow having to find a way to be comfortable with the discomfort, at least enough to allow it in order for it to heal itself or expose itself, like more come to the surface. But there is a sense of right now, really it being a mystery, you not knowing what is wrong, you not understanding what is upsetting somebody, what is ailing somebody, or if it's a physical ailment, where it's coming from and what to do about it. I guarantee you there's a link between emotional and physiological right now. This is letting go of the clutter. This is some Cancerian energy, wanting to provide, wanting to nurture. There are traits that you and Cancerians really have a lot in common with, wanting to nurture and take care of people. You do it through structure and scheduling, and Cancerians do it through emotional, psychic, and Cancerians do it through empathy, essentially. But essentially the end goal is very much the same. This is Cancerian energy, but it's also the Cancerian energy that allows itself to grow up. It's the Cancerian energy that allows itself to not be so impacted by emotions, but instead direct its own energy, direct its own flow, use its legs. It's not a tadpole anymore. It's time to let go of all of those things, those self-judgments, those judgments of others, the hurt of a past relationship that we hold on to. It's time to let it go. It's time to transition. And this is hard. This is that low vibrational, you would call it, this unharmonious Cancerian energy, setting up walls, too many walls, walls that are too thick, burdening ourselves with what we're trying to protect ourselves with, right? That sense of not wanting to hear, not wanting to know, not wanting to understand, not wanting to face, but barricading ourselves away from maybe somebody letting go of us. So I think there was a lot of pain through a separation. There was a lot of pain maybe through a breakup. There was a lot of pain maybe through the loss of somebody, and wanting to block ourselves from having to actually feel all of that pain. And now realizing we need to feel the pain. The only way that we're going to move forward is to feel the pain, because there are secrets in the pain. There are things that will help us relieve the pain in the pain. You know, it's like once we allow the pain in, we allow ourselves to be able to see what caused the pain, realize if we were a contributor to it. There's all these, by ignoring it altogether and blocking ourselves from dealing with it, we're not doing ourselves a favor. And the wonderful thing about this energy right now is realizing that we're actually doing ourselves a favor by allowing ourselves to finally face all those uncomfortable things that we didn't want to face. And this is having confidence in yourself, and this is transcending and the truth. So in other words, through the truth, there is a greater potential for you to love yourself. There is a sense of you being able to accept that your imperfections are actually beautiful things. And that, not that they're not imperfections, and not that, but a sense of, I know this sounds really clear, nobody's perfect, but this is Aquarius energy. Right? Aquarius energy. So thinking about others and realizing how you impact others, how important you are to others, and how you affect others, and how or why somebody may have run away from you or left you behind because the structure became suffocating. And in your defense, it probably was something that they asked you to do for them initially. But then all of a sudden it was like too much, and this doesn't feel like if this is a person, it doesn't seem like a person that's very good at speaking articulating what they feel, but they're instead somebody who almost kind of communicates psychically or intuitively, especially if you're dealing with a Scorpio or a Pisces or a Cancer. There is a sense in all water signs of, well, why didn't you know that's how I felt? Because you didn't fucking say it. You know, I mean, like that's a major response that water signs get a lot. When did you tell me you weren't happy? Every day in how I felt. Okay. Well, you kind of have to let me, because like I'm not telepathic. You know what I'm like? There is that sense. So especially if you're dealing with a water sign, there was this buildup of tension, buildup of it's like the stronger you became, the weaker they became, and the weaker they became, the more of a victim they became. They didn't know how to get out of it. They didn't even know how to save themselves. So they basically just ran out the sides and left you with what the fuck happened. And now there's an uncovering of what the fuck happened. And so even though it's not comfortable, it is healing. Let's get into the angel messages, because I love this part of the day. Because they said, ooh, Archangel Michael is large and in charge. He's here with you. Now, Archangel Michael is, you're fighting a battle that you're going to win. This is a sense of him giving you your energy in order to fight a battle for you, or being able to triumph, because he is the warrior angel. He is God's right hand man. I don't want to say that wrong. But there is that sense of going into battle to win. So in other words, it's like victory and success are yours through these complications. So even though it's stressful and painful and difficult for you, there's victory on the horizon. Archangel Michael, the path is now clear, right? Clear, realizing everything that went wrong. I have removed all obstacles in your way. You can move forward now with ease and confidence. You will achieve your heart's desires. Wow, what else to say to that? But here we have a more complex statement. Think global. You are being encouraged to spread your wings. Think outside the square. That's not comfortable for you. You are a citizen of the world. Expand your vision. Imagine the world within your heart. Embrace it. Surround it with love. Let it be, so it will be. So this is the victory is in letting go. The victory is in loving somebody else enough to let them leave you or be different than you or have different opinions than you, because it helps you understand them. This is a sense of stepping outside of your comfort zone, which isn't easy for you, but it's time. It's time for you to expand beyond what you've gotten comfortable with. And the obstacles are being removed so that you can. In other words, to make this transition as comfortable as possible for you. Transformation. Like what is that? That's so crazy that this card would even come out, because it's what this whole reading has been about, but that's why these angel messages are so accurate. Transformation. Through the great love that holds you in its embrace, you are moment by moment transforming to ever greater light, ever greater oneness, and ever greater wisdom. Losing yourself, you're becoming part of the whole, the oneness. We all come from the same source. So there is a sense of not being afraid that you aren't valuable by doing your thing, realizing that you're part of the whole thing, and allowing yourself to now be able to change and think outside of the square, because you're realizing your connectivity to everything else makes you you're already a part of everything else. So there's nothing to be uncomfortable about. But this is definitely the angels being with you through a transition, a huge change in your life. Wow. Archangel Metatron, he doesn't show up often. I am your link between heaven and earth, between your humanity and your divinity. I am here to help you heal the conflict that exists between your heart and mind. Feel me in your heart and thoughts. Through oneness, there is love. Oh, wow. Oh my God, such fucking chills. Okay. This is the best time, I think. I'm going to go into tarot. I do invite you guys over, please. The link is below, and I will see you in the extended.